Welcome to Token Fest. My name is Brinkley Warren. I'm one of the co-founders along with Ryan. This is our first event, and we're so grateful that you've all taken the time to come here and explore the innovations and the magic of blockchain technologies and cryptocurrencies. And then, of course, I need to thank all of our amazing sponsors. Without them, this would not be possible to be here. We've got probably 130 plus exhibitors that are here, which is a lot. This is probably the biggest blockchain event that has ever happened on the West Coast, which is also exciting. We're expecting over 2,000 people. We have 155 speakers here, and we have an amazing group of people who are putting the show together. And so a huge shout out to all of the amazing sponsors. So why are we all here? Well, I thought it would be useful to sort of put that in the words of our speakers. And so we prepared a few of these quotes. We asked some of our speakers, why did you decide to speak at Token Fest? And some of you probably know Tim Draper. He's one of the pioneers in venture capital. And some of you might also know Jonathan Johnson with Overstock. So why is he here? No big deal, just because it's transforming and redefining everything from capital markets to banking, payments, voting, property rights, identity, supply chain, and the internet. So no big deal. We also have Peter Diamandis, who's one of my mentors, a fantastic individual who has done all kinds of amazing ventures such as the X Prize. He co-founded Singularity University. He started International Space University, some amazing projects that he's involved in. And again, the reason that we're here is because blockchain technologies are fundamentally changing everything. We have Sheila Warren here, and she's here because she wants to use these technologies to produce positive impact in the world. That's going to be a theme that you're going to see over and over throughout the show. And in fact, you're going to hear about that coming up later this morning with Chris Fabian from UNICEF and some of the amazing work that's happening with UNICEF and the United Nations, et cetera, in terms of blockchain technologies. And then, of course, we've done our best to have a very diverse program. We have the most women speakers out of any blockchain event that we've seen. We worked really hard to make that happen. We kicked things off last night with an amazing sort of pre-event reception called Blockchain Powered by Women. Some of you were able to go to that. So we've really done our best to provide a platform for the underrepresented voices that are out there working in the industry. So just wanted to start with just my personal background so you know a little bit more about me. I'm a serial entrepreneur. The last venture that I started before Token Fest is a crazy company called Megabots. So what you're looking at is a giant real-world mech that we created because it's awesome to create mechs from video games, and why not, right? That is the Mark III robot. So I've always been involved in sort of forward-thinking, innovative projects, and it was actually through this venture of Megabots that I came into the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. And so had the pleasure to go to Necker Island and hang out with Richard Branson with the Megabots venture. And it was actually on Necker Island where we were hanging out in Richard's sort of like has this open space area that's, you can feel the Bahama breeze and stuff come in. It's amazing. And I saw on his giant bookshelf, there was a book sitting there called The Age of Cryptocurrency. And I made a note to myself, well, if Richard Branson is reading this book, I should probably read this book too. And I picked up that book, and then I finally realized, oh my gosh, this is not just about Bitcoin, but this actually will change the entire fabric of the internet. And that is what really got me into blockchain space, and it started to get me thinking about, what could I do in the industry? What could we do to sort of accelerate, to unify, and to direct this movement and this technology towards more positive impact? I think of this technology stack as almost like the sixth wave of technology. So it started with Fairchild Semiconductor, where they really turned physics into, products for the first time with semiconductors. And then it went from there to sort of the Ciscos and the Apples and the Intels of the world. And then the internet happened. And then things like Google, came out, and then the user interface of the internet happened, and so then you got Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and LinkedIn, sort of like the Web 2.0 phase really kicked off. And then data science has been happening. We've heard a lot more about artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. That started happening. And where we're heading is the fourth industrial revolution. And that is really part of this blockchain technology stack that's driving that future. What it means is that everything is becoming more open. And blockchain is, technologies represent that fundamental shift. So we're going to see lots more convergence, open source communities, and that's really what blockchain represents. So interesting stat, the major companies of the world are lasting for a smaller amount of time. That's important because it's taking a lot less time to make it to $1 billion market cap. In fact, some companies are making it to $1 billion market cap before they even launch a company. Using ICOs and fundraising that blockchain technologies are empowering. The interesting thing is exponential technologies are always deceptive at first, right? And so because of our linear brains, we're always thinking that, oh, if I just see it in front of me, then it must be growing at that same speed the entire time. But it's actually hugely deceptive. Exponential technologies, as they go immediately from being disappointing to absolute chaotically insane and amazing. And so I think that this is really where we are on the curve, is right at the knee of the curve as the amazement starts to kick in. Mainstream media is talking about it. John Oliver is talking trash about the industry while also educating people about it. So that's sort of where we're at right now. This is an amazing animation that was put together by one of our partners, Elementus. Elementus is an amazing data visualization company on the blockchain. So what you're looking at is ICOs over time. And you can see where they're happening, right? So Europe, North America, the first one was stateless. This is an updated graphic that they created just for this conference. And I want you to see what happened. So at first, it's kind of deceptive. Not too much is happening. It's not a big deal. Why would you ever pay attention to blockchain or to ICOs, right? And then the DAO happens, and then some other parts of the world, they're saying, oh, that seems like an interesting idea. Maybe we should do that. Look at the time. Look at the time right there. It's still 2017. And then an explosion happens last year. And if you look towards the end, that is February. Look at that data. So the interesting thing about this data is that it's not slowing down. The media is saying, oh, it's a trend, it's going to stop. That's not the case. The truth of the matter is that we're at the very beginning. This is like the internet at the very beginning of the internet. And so some of the key stats that you could take away from this is that in 2017, there was $8 billion raised. Already in 2018, $6 billion has already been raised. So we're going to definitely eclipse that of 2017 and probably double or triple it. February was the biggest month to date with over $4 billion raised. There's been 980 token sales. If you want to play around with this animation, I encourage you to take a photo, go to that URL today, and you'll be able to actually play with the animation. It's pretty cool, and you can share it on Twitter and whatnot. So why are we all here? We're here because exponential disruption is happening. Exponential convergence is happening. It's leading to democratized financial systems. Exponential inclusion is happening because now everyone is able to participate. Doesn't matter where you're from. And that is going to create the age of democratization. And blockchain is the most important fundamental technology that is making that possible. It's like an upgrade to the entire internet. And so throughout this show, we're going to hear from some amazing speakers who are going to tell you about the future. We're going to kick things off right now by introducing to you Bill Barheit from Abra. He has an amazing announcement that he's going to show us. It's actually he's the first guy that ever gave a TED Talk on Bitcoin back in 2012, I believe. So if you would please join me in welcoming Bill Barheit from Abra.